But even if you allow for things like human influence, error, manipulation, confusion, a few bad actors here and there, honest disagreements, even if you allow for these things to alter the shape and the course of the church, which is my own perspective, I would still hope that the original catalyst for our religion, which again are the life and the teachings of Jesus, would remain both central to and also characteristic of whatever Christianity is today. In other words, if Christianity were like a box of chocolates, I just don't accept you never know what you're going to get. The variety of shapes and sizes and chocolatey coverings, that's fine. But the center of the chocolate, if it's not Jesus, then what are we even doing? Now, I'll be the first to tell people, and I make a lot of content that says as much, that the teachings and the actions of Jesus were not then, nor are they now, always super clear or obvious. That being said, sometimes things that come out of what passes for Christianity today, or what passes for Christian leaders today, it seems so far afield of what Jesus was for and about that I just don't always understand what's happening. Like, I don't think it's too absurd to say that if all else fails in your attempts to try and be Christian, or in your efforts to understand Christianity, just return to the Gospels and listen to and learn from Jesus. No, they're not perfect accounts. Sometimes they contradict each other. No, they're not always easy to comprehend. Yes, they took place in a world so very different than our own, and yet we have them. And that's no small thing. We can, in other words, audit our own understanding of Christianity against the life and the teachings of the one upon whom the religion was founded. Here's a quick analogy for you. You know the children's game Telephone? It makes a lot of sense that whatever the original message said by kid number 1, it's going to get bungled up and confused by the time it reaches kid number 20. Of course it does. That's both the fun and the expectation of the game. But imagine if kid number 2 was allowed to write down what they heard from kid number 1. And then even let's let kid number 3 write down what they heard from kid number 2. And then just let the game go as normal from there. Now, even if those 2 kids' writings were not exact, perfect replications of the message that they heard, and maybe a couple errors squeaked in, they will still no doubt be, whatever they wrote down is going to be a whole lot closer to the original message as delivered by kid 1 than what kid number 20 will eventually hear. So let's say then that kid number 20, if you're following with me here, is permitted to look at the notes from kids 2 and 3 before kid 20 announces to the group, here's what the original telephone message is. It's safe to assume that whatever kid 20 heard from kid 19 is going to be very different, possibly wildly different from that was written down by kids 2 and 3. The expectation, one would hope at least, is that kid 20 would compare their current understanding of the message against the written down versions of kids 2 and 3 and then adjust accordingly.